Well, it looks like the chatbot thingy is working today. So, hello, not chatbot thing. The thing that puts the chat on the screen during the countdown. That looks like that's working today. Hello, Mother.
Hello, Mother.
All right, so tonight I'm just going to jump right into it. A couple of announcements, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm working on. And I have updated the chat bot, so if you do exclamation pattern, you get a link to the free pattern of that quarter shop that we're going to be working from. Yes, I said we. I'll talk about that in a minute. It'll give you a link to the pattern that we're going to be working from. This looks like a very beginner-friendly, easy pattern. Mom's going to make hers way bigger than mine is going to be. She's going to make it double the size. And this is probably something that'll take her months to do because she's just going to work on it one block at a time. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But before we get into tonight's project, the announcements that I have for you. So, a couple of things. My shop is going to have a sale on Whatnot. It is a live sale. It will not be auction based. It will be offer based. And what that means for you is on Sunday at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time until about 1 o'clock-ish, I will be on Whatnot doing a sale, and there are some things I still have to load in there, but most of the items that I am selling are already listed on my storefront on Whatnot, as well as in the live sale. So you can go over and see what those things are, but know that I'll be loading some things last minute, so there may be some other things there. I'm also going to be doing a giveaway on the Whatnot platform, so if you don't have the app installed on your phone or your tablet, make sure to do that so that you can participate in the giveaway on that live sale. What I want to talk about really quick is that we will be using the offer functionality, and we'll go over all this on Sunday, rather than auction. And what that means is I have listed everything at MSRP, manufacturer suggested retail price. However, I have opened up every item so that you can make an offer on it. If you want to pay MSRP, you are more than welcome to, but if you want to negotiate a better deal, you are welcome to send me an offer, and then we can we can talk through that all together. So, looks like I'm getting messages the exclamation pattern isn't working, so I'm going to double check and see what's going on with the CloudBot. It turned itself off. Sometimes it likes to turn itself off and then back on, so give it a try again. Um, oh, sorry. Lost my train of thought, but I'm back. Okay, got it.
Hello?
Volume should not be low because I don't know. Okay, is the volume better? People were saying the volume was low. Mom, can you give me a mic check?
I don't know how to do that.
You just talk.
Oh, well, I'm talking. So that should work.
It should.
Hello?
No, that's working the right way. Okay. Okay. Is the volume better? Testing, testing, testing. It looks like it should be better. Okay. Yeah, let me know if it's not. Ian and Tiffany will both let me know if it's not. They've got backdoor contact for me. All right. So moving on to the announcements from Whatnot. I literally lost my train of thought. Oh, offer functionality. That's how that will work. There will be giveaways on Sunday, but I want you to know that Whatnot is doing a shop hop, a quilt shop hop on their platform Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week. And I will be doing a 30-minute live sale Tuesday evening at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Most of the same things that I'll be selling on Sunday, if anything's left over, plus a few other things that I'm going to hold back. So I have some fresh items for Tuesday night. So for those of you that might be in church or doing other things when I've been doing my Sunday sales, but you want to check this out, Tuesday evening might be a great place for you to do that. One more announcement about Whatnot. This is a brand new platform. It's only a couple years old. I think they launched in 2019, and sometime within the past year or so, they've been trying to build up this arts and handcrafted area, and they're really leaning in heavily to bringing a lot of quilt shops online onto their platform. And they're constantly trying to make it a better place to be. And the reason why I bring all that up is because I'm really excited to tell you that starting this week, sellers on Whatnot will have the ability to ship using flat rate packaging and envelopes and priority mail, or offering free shipping. Tuesday, everything in my shop will be free shipping. I can't always do that, but Whatnot is going to reimburse me for all of your shipping charges. So you're going to get free shipping on Tuesday. And the reason why all of that is fun and exciting is because it's one more improvement into saving you a little bit more money so you can buy some stuff. All right. So I feel like I've talked about the shop way too much, and I just want to get to sewing. So what are we working on? We are going to be making this pattern. It is called, I'll go to the overhead so you can see it. This is called the Layer Cake Pop Quilt Pattern. This is a free PDF that you can download from Fat Quarter Shop. And what's really interesting about this is what we're going to build is this block right here. Do you see where we have the colored square and then these little half square triangles in the corners? But then what happens when you put it together, you'll see it better here, is you get these secondary stars. I'll hold that up a little bit closer. You get those secondary stars that kind of pop out. Mom has been asking me to please, oh please, let her make a star. And I'm kind of thinking, that's a little advanced. She's 90% done with her strip quilt. We just got to put the borders on it, but it's together. And honestly, it's a little wavy. We didn't starch the strips before she sewed, and perhaps I should have taught her to sew down one side and then up the other and maybe starching the strips, but it is put together and we'll be able to salvage it mostly, but we're going to probably end up with some strips that are just going to be crooked, but it will lay flat when we're done with it, and we'll quilt it into submission if we need to. It'll be fine. But it's her first ever quilt on a sewing machine. And it's not all done yet, but it's getting there. By the end of the weekend, it will be pieced. She wants to move on to another quilt. And she's been staring at my New Year's star quilt, my spring chicken quilt, whatever you want to call it, that's hanging on the wall in my studio. and wants to make something with stars. And so I figured this would be I looked at the pattern, I looked at the video tutorial from Fat Quarter Shop. I think this is a very beginner friendly pattern. So I'm going to join her on this journey. I'm going to show you how to put together one of the blocks while I am also teaching her. So I'll be teaching both of you at the same time. There is a tutorial for the entire thing if you want to get it. There's a free download for it. And along the way, we'll just chat and prep materials for a whole lot more blocks. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, what you're going to need to make this quilt is a jelly roll of some background, or just a 42.5-inch strips by width of fabric. That works too. And then half of a layer cake. You don't need all 40 pieces. You just need 20 of them. And you can starch the fabric and cut it according to the pattern instructions. So I have gotten Mom's fabric.
Do I need to do some more of those to
No,
start?
no. But I had, here it is. I have enough for you to get started. This is everything that you're going to need to make your first block.
Well,
Let
me mosey on over.
let her mosey on over. So just as we were, I was cutting my fabric, so I've got my strips cut down, and I looked up at the clock right as I was about ready to cut my layer cake piece, and I realized it was like 8 o'clock. I was like, oh, I'm not going to have time to finish cutting. So excuse me while I cut this piece really quickly.
That's pretty.
Yeah, it is. So Mom is using a batik layer cake. I don't even remember what it was called, but I'm pretty sure I bought that layer cake off of So Yeah probably about 2 years ago. It's gorgeous. Oh, it's going to be so pretty when this is all put together. She's pressing, I'm teaching her to starch all of her fabrics, all the pre-cuts. There is enough room in the cutting instructions to starch every single piece. So we are best pressing everything before we cut it. And the layer cake that I'm working with was actually one that I bought when I first started quilting, and opened it up. I gave it to Mom, opened it up, and she never did anything with it. And so I've been sitting on it for a minute, and I decided, you know what? I need a layer cake. I bought this when I first started sewing, before I even knew what designer fabric was. I just knew I liked this fabric line. My sister loved this fabric line and wanted a quilt made out of it, and saved all my pennies and spent $40 on a layer cake. Gosh, I thought that was expensive.
Now look at you.
I know it's not that it's a good thing, but anyway, I saved all my pennies and I bought this layer cake. And you're probably asking yourself, what layer cake did you buy? Tell me the layer cake already. It is Sugar Pie by Lulla Boutique. This is a very much out of print fabric line, and I am sitting here cutting into it, and I'm going to work with it because this will look far better in a finished quilt than it will in a stack of fabric when I can't even see it on my shelf. Fabric always looks better in a quilt than it does on your shelf, right?
Yipper.
So I'm going to, what I have done, and I'm going to talk through pattern piece sizes because this is a free pattern that you can download off Fat Quarter Shop's website. So there's no reason why I can't have to have 8 of those. So from your background square, 1, 2, yep. From your background square, you need to have, or from your layer cake square, you need to be able to cut 8 2.5-inch by 2.5-inch pieces. And that's what I'm finishing cutting here. And you need 1 4.5-inch square. So I am just wrapping that up. There's 2.5 there. I feel like I'm shortchanging myself. I'm not paying enough attention to what I'm measuring. So I really need to focus on measuring. There's 2 more. And then I'll have to cut into this because I wasn't paying attention. That's okay. plenty of room for a little bit of error here, or a little bit of inefficient cutting, I should say. All right, Mom, are you ready?
I'm waiting on you,
I know you are.
Susie Q.
Susie Q. Okay, so the first step that you're going to do is pull out your 4.5-inch square of that beautiful purple batik. Let me show everybody what you're working with before I give it to you. Yep, there's a reason why you weren't doing anything, because I had your fabric.
Yep.
So this is what fabric Mom is going to work with for the first block. She's using just 9,900. This is a Moda Bella Solid White. And then this is the Robert Kaufman Batiks. I was like, which one do you want to work with first? She was like, whichever piece is on top. So we grabbed this one. This is going to be what's going to make her first block. And my fabric is using the Sugar Pie line from Lala Boutique. Can you get that?
Yeah, now
Okay.
I can.
And I chose to go with the floral to start with. Okay, now the next thing you're going to need is
your sewing machine.
Well, no, you need a marking utensil. Here. That's a pen that is air soluble, so it means when you write on the fabric, over a couple of days, the ink is just going to disappear. You're going to need it to make some markings.
Not my strong suit.
Trust me, you're going to be okay.
Okay.
If I can, this will be the test about whether or not I can actually teach someone.
You can teach me.
Okay, we're going to see if your block looks like mine when it's all said and done.
Uh-oh.
It will. It will. I promise you.
Ruh-roh.
Okay, the first thing we're going to do is take our 4.5-inch square.
This one.
Mm-hmm. And then you have 3 different sizes of your white strips. Put those in 3 different piles.
Okay.
We want the 2 that are the middle size. You should only have 2 of those. We want 2 of those.
Okay.
And the first thing we're going to do, and if you would like to pin, do you want to pin? Here, I'll let you use those.
I don't know if I will after this, but for now, yes.
Okay, that's fine. I will use clips. Do you want to use clips instead, or are you better with pins?
I'm good.
Okay. I'm just going to pull clips out. I'll do this just like you are. So the first thing you're going to do is take one of those rectangles and line it up with one of the edges of your square. And make sure to get those edges nice and lined up. And then take a clip or a pin and just pop them in to hold the pieces together. And while you're doing that, I'll read through the chat. Oh, Katie said, I'm a wonderful teacher. Thank you.
Hi, Katie.
Bernadine says hello to everybody. Hello, Bernadine. Sean says that is a fun purple batik. I agree. There's a pattern on the throat of your machine if you want to hand that to me so it's out of your way, or you can just put it on the table. How many pins are you using?
3.
Wow. Okay. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. Hi, Patty. Nope, you're not late. Just getting started. We are working on, I'm sure somebody is going to ask again, so I'll just kind of put this where you can see it. This is the project we're working on tonight. It is a free pattern from Fat Quarter Shop, and if you do !pattern, you get a link to the free pattern to download.
Am I going to do this one now too?
Nope, just do the one side.
Sew it now?
Yep, you're going to sew with 1/4 inch. Now, do you remember how to get your 1/4 inch on that machine?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you're going to do. Sew it with 1/4 inch. Hello, Robin. Sarah says, hello, everyone. I'm happy to be hanging out with you all with my PB&J.
I'll have one, please.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's strawberry J.
All right. Now that you have that sewn, what are you grabbing snips for?
Threads.
Oh, Mom does not like extra threads in her project, so she will always reach for a quick pair of snips to cut them away right away. I think I make her a little, in fact, I know I do. I make her a little crazy because I don't trim my threads. And so she always wants to come in behind me. She's like, I'll clean that up for you.
Okay.
All right. Now you have one piece attached. You're going to lay, here, I should be showing you visually. You're going to lay it so that your purple square is on top because we're going to press so that the seam goes under the purple. Put your fingers in between the two layers and just pop it over.
Do a finger press.
Just rub it down with your fingernail. Don't stretch it. Don't push it. Don't force it. And if you are worried that you're doing any of that, this is a seam roller. I'll have a couple of these in my shop soon. It's made of wood and it's just as good as pressing. So you can use that.
I'm probably better with this.
Then you use that. I'm good with my fingernail because I've done this enough, but that will help make sure that you're not stretching or warping your fabric. But it'll still get it a little bit flatter. It's not going to be as flat as when you use an iron or steam or starch, but it's good to start. Now you're going to take the other piece and put it on the opposite side.
Rinse, lather, repeat.
And I know you like to use 3 pins, so I'll mimic that.
I am
3
not
clips.
using 3 pins on this.
Okay, 2 will be fine.
How about
Or
none?
1 in the middle.
How about none?
So if you do none, this is my trick for you. Watch. You want to make sure that your raw edges stay lined up. So all you really have to do is line up these raw edges where you're going to put it in the machine. And then once you've taken a couple of stitches, stop and adjust the raw edges a little further down and keep your finger on the fabric. If you watch me over here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I've got the top part lined up, take a couple of stitches, and then I'll scratch the pieces into place down here. And I'm just going to lightly hold that with my finger and let the machine pull the fabric in. All I'm doing is keeping them lined up at the bottom. Go ahead.
Is this the right side? Yeah.
Pat says, I am a thread trimmer too. Donna says, I cannot stand threads hanging either.
When I was in home economics class learning how to make those dreadful, ugly dresses, my teacher kind of put it in our heads. You always trim your threads.
Well, I've got extra time in between steps since I'm taking this slow enough that you can keep up with me. Not that you're slow. I don't mean it to be derogative, but I will.
Do you want me to trim your threads?
No, I'm doing it. I just trimmed them.
Wow.
I know. Impressive.
Oh.
Trying to get my snips out of here. There we go. Mary is an avid trimmer and presser. Yes, I know.
Mary, our Mary?
Yeah.
Hi, Mary.
What? Okay. So hand it here. This is a teaching moment. Let me show them what you did.
Don't do this, folks.
So if you'll notice, I was careful to make sure that I was sewing on the right side of the fabric. Mom has done one of these numbers. So this is the seam that she pressed with her seam roller. I can tell because it's nice and flat. This is the one that she just sewed on. So when you're sewing, always make sure that you're putting your fabric right sides together. It's a little tricky when you're working with batiks because batiks they technically do have a wrong side, but most people sew with them as though they don't. So to rip this seam, Mom would have to pick each stitch because she hasn't gotten this piece down yet. So I'm just going to rip the seam for her.
Bless you, my child.
I thought you were going to say bless your heart, and I was going to have to smack you because I'm doing you a solid. By the way, your seam is huge. I don't think you're sewing with a 1/4 inch, so I'm going to have you do this again. Like that looks like a 1/2 inch.
Okay, just rip it out. I'll redo it.
Okay.
Nobody's mad.
Nope. Let me come over and I'm going to look at your settings to make sure the needle's in the right position, because it could just be your needle is too far over to the left.
Alert. Alert.
I got to turn this off. I can't have... Mary's talking to you. You guys can text, but I can't keep having all my like my iPad's there, my phone's there, and my computer's there, and all 3 of them are dinging.
Mary, my electronics are across the room.
Here, you can use my phone.
Oh.
I can't have the computer on. All right. Oop, oop.
I need a Face ID or something.
Well, I'm not going to tell you out loud what my passcode is. There you go. All right, let me... Yeah, this is off. Here, we're going to do this. Okay, try that again. See if that works a little bit better for you. Use the same guide that you had before. All I did was I know that machine. When you're lining the fabric up with the edge of the foot that's there, if the needle is in the center position, you are sewing with like a 5/8 seam allowance.
Well, I'm glad we caught it now.
So I moved the needle all the way over to the right, which is how I always sew on that machine if I'm going to line the fabric up with the edge of that foot.
That is probably one of the reasons that one is wonky.
Could be. Yep, it could be. So we'll give you a minute to get that sewn. I'm going to sit here and read through the chat.
Okay. I don't have time to... I just can't want to.
Oh, the texting is too much for you?
I just can't text back.
I understand.
It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I'm just telling folks.
Okay. Well, I'll read the chat out to you. And you're going to see Mary on Sunday anyway. So she'll be out here.
That's my girl.
Yep. And maybe we'll even go out that way tomorrow night for some ice cream.
Mary.
Yeah, Mary, I'll text you afterwards. Maybe we'll go out to the dairy farm tomorrow evening. We'll come out your way, maybe.
Maybe.
Hello, Nancy Jean number 2.
Hello, Nancy Jean number 2.
Get my stuff a little bit more organized. Ian says, I want ice cream. You'll get ice cream in a little over a week, my friend.
Oh.
Yeah, he's coming on the 14th. Let me see that piece before you sew on the other side. Just throw it at me.
Well, I have to do my threads.
Okay.
It's a rule.
Mary said, it's all good, Mom, and it sounds good for ice cream, Becca. Hey, Donna said, hey, Ian, I just had a root beer float.
Yummo.
Christine Wolf says, we all scream for ice cream. And y'all, since we're screaming for ice cream and talking, keep Tiffany in your thoughts and prayers as she's going through all this PT. I know she's hurting from it. Yes, this is much better. And do you see the stitching line from where you were compared to this?
Well, I didn't get to see it all because you took it away too quickly.
Do press it with your wooden seam roller and look at where the holes in the fabric are from the previous.
See it. Oh my.
It's half of what you had.
And by the way, we love you, Mary.
And Donna, and Ian,
Donna, and Ian,
Tiffany, and Sean, and Teresa,
all the people,
and Candy, and Susan, and G&B. Gayla says, I want to go to the dairy barn. Everybody. We love everybody. We don't discriminate. We have enough love for everyone.
And it's not a joke.
How's that feel?
Good.
Is it laying flat? She loves this wooden seam roller. She's like, yeah.
I really, if I'm going to keep sewing, I will.
You'll want one of those? Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll get you one. Well, I think you will. It's flat enough. You're not going to, you know what? Enjoy the process. If you like doing it, keep going. Tell me when you're ready.
Well, now you already stopped me.
Here, you know, you can use this, Mom. Set this on the table where my phone is.
Your dead mic?
No, that's the receiver.
Oh.
So now if you put that over, if you put your fabric on that board, and pick up the little, yep, there you go. I'm getting her organized. So now when you do your rolling, your seam rolling on it, if you roll the fabric while it's on that, it'll give you a better surface and it'll lay a little bit flatter. I've given her my pressing mat so that she's not rolling the wood thing on a harder surface. She's going to do it on the ironing mat.
I could have got mine. I didn't know I would need it.
Totally fine. Just use that one. I've got my wool pressing mat over here because I wanted a bigger pressing surface.
Yeah, she's so good to me.
Becca, are you close to Woodbridge, Virginia? Yes, I am, Linda. I am in Prince William County. Where are you at?
No, this is where I messed up before.
That's right. Exactly. Good catch. When you're sewing on the other side, you want the right side of the fabric to be facing up. There you go. Karen Bray said, I never know you could seam rip that way until I was watching one of Tiffany's videos, and it's been a game changer. Thank you, Tiffany. Katrina says, woo, done pinning 100 arches to the background. Hopefully this will be the last to go round for... Oh, man, Mom.
What, baby?
Did you see it?
No.
There was a spider.
Oh.
I didn't get it. How good is a wool press mat? Made my own, but wondering if I should get one for FPP. I love mine, but I also love my board that has, it has one layer of Annie Soft and Stable and 4 layers of batting, and that's good too. Tiffany just did a spider emoji.
I hope you feel better soon, Tiff.
I hate spiders too, Mary. I'm with you. Spiders and snakes.
Ugh. I don't do snakes.
No, me either.
Ever.
Yeah.
You see that thing on Facebook a couple years ago where it had like this humongous snake going down the road? It said, what would you do? I said, run like the devil. And I meant it.
Linda said, I live in Duluth, Minnesota. My sister lives in Woodbridge. What's the best quilting store near there? Depends on what you're looking for. Hold on a second. So before you do that, make sure that you don't have a tuck. You want to feel the seam.
Yeah, I did.
And make sure it's all the way over.
It is. Oh, you mean in this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, see? And you can do that. No, you can do that on the mat.
I like it up here better.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, she had a pocket.
We were playing pocket pool with the seam.
We were. And then if you pass that over to me, we're going to give it a good shot of heat just to get it laying really nice and flat for you.
I really like that so far.
Yeah.
We've got 2 seams on it. That's it. But I like it.
So what she just did is she took her fingers, put them in between the 2 layers. Well, lay this edge on top, finger in between the 2 layers, push it over and just touch it down with your finger. And then you come in with the seam roller. And that's how you'll make sure you don't have the pocket.
What you talking about?
Yeah, that's not what you did, but it's good enough. Okay, I'm going to inspect your work.
Well, this is how I'll learn. Because when I tried quilting on my own years ago, I could never get seams to line up.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you this one's perfect, but this one over here, you're off just a couple of threads. I would not rip this because it's going to be okay, but you'll want to take a little bit more care to make sure that you're lining up the fabric right in the tip top corner as you're feeding into the machine. But this one will be okay. Just make sure that you're paying attention to that as you're feeding the fabric through the machine.
What you talking about, Willis?
Okay. Let me get you a little bit of heat. I kind of should have hit the warm up button, but I didn't do that.
Oh, silly girl. So which piece should I get ready on my machine?
So the next piece that you're going to get are 2 of the longer pieces.
And that's going to go on those.
Top and bottom.
Okay.
And this is my trick. This is what I do to keep things laying flat. You didn't need to press this seam to add this one, right? Because you're not working with this when you add it to the opposite side. However, I'm going to sew over these seams. So anytime I'm going to attach fabric, I'm going to sew over top of a seam I already made. I want to make sure that I press it with heat. And if I starched my fabric before I cut it, maybe I missed it with some starch, depending on how much bulk I have going on, because when I apply that starch, it's going to get it to lay a little bit flatter. I don't need the starch in this case because it's a very simple construction, but the heat will get that to lay super, super flat.
Super flat.
Now, if you have done your 1/4 inch correctly, what you should find,
It'll measure perfectly.
this should measure absolutely perfectly. And if this is just a hair longer than this, that just means that your seam allowance here is just a tad too, too big. Yeah, a tad too big because it's shrinking it in. That's not a big deal. You'll be okay. We'll square it up.
Oh, you didn't press it yet.
Yes, I did.
What are you trying to fool me for? And now we do right sides together.
Right sides together. So you want to see the pretty fabric on top when you're attaching those 2 strips. First to the top and then to the bottom. Now when you do this, Mom, make sure that you take that top strip and just line it up perfectly in this top corner. And if you're worried about that shifting, this is where I would get a pin or a clip and hold that.
Yeah.
And then if you want to finish lining it up, you can pin it the rest of the way down if you'd like, but you don't have to do that. You just want to make sure that it's lined up perfectly in that top corner. Oh no, Lori says she's fighting a headache and she's going to fall asleep soon.
Oh,
I'll watch later if I do.
I hope you feel better, Lori. Now see, this is off.
Yeah, I told you that
It was going to be because
you
that
had a
one
bigger
was
seam
just
allowance.
okay.
Yep.
That's where
and that's
that came
okay.
in.
We're just going to clean it up.
So
The other step that I do is along the way, I like to square things up to make sure that they're the right sizes. For me, I notice that my piece is exactly the same width of the piece that I'm putting on top of it, which means I am sewing with an accurate 1/4 inch. Mom's seam allowance is a little off, but in the end, it's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
Yep. Once we have that seam attached, I'm going to lay it so that the piece, I'll wait for her. Sorry, I'm getting a little ahead of myself.
Not everybody sews super speed like you and Tiff. Although if I knew what I was doing better, I would all. Okay.
All right, turn it over. Trim your threads.
Nancy G, number 2, do you hate your name? I do. Is she still there?
Yes, she just said that she was going to pray for Lori.
Oh. I like that she prays. Okay.
All right. Flip it over so that you're looking at the wrong side of your beautiful center square.
Okay.
No, leave it folded. I'm going to show you how to flip it. And now you're going to put your fingers in between the 2 layers. Turn it around, Mom. It's upside. Flip it over. Lay it on its belly. Yes, there you go. Now flip this up. Put your hand in between the two layers here.
Okay.
Turn it towards you so you can see what you're doing.
Okay.
You're going to need room. There you go. And now just very gently, watch my hands before you do it. Just push it back and pat it down. And then you can take it to your mat and use your seam roller.
Because I don't want any tag-alongs here.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Does anyone know the brand of light box Becca has used that she can also cut on? I've been looking, but I don't know the name. Thank you to anyone who knows. It is the Caterpillar. This is the Caterpillar Glow. This is the green one. The green one means it has to be plugged in order to use it, but they do have a silver one that has a rechargeable battery. Candy said my mom was Nellie Jean.
Yeah. I hate the name Jean. That's my problem.
Bobby says my name is Bobby Jean, and my cousins say it all together like one name, and I hate it.
Yes.
And it's Jean.
I hate that. The only one allowed to do that is Jason. Okay, now we're going to rinse, lather, repeat.
That's right. Right to the other side.
Lather, rinse, repeat.
That's right. And lay it so that the pretty finished side is on top. Take your other piece of fabric and attach it to that long edge.
Like we just did.
Yep. Make sure that you have your one corner nice and lined up.
That's what I'm doing. You know, I was one of those girls in home ec that didn't pay attention. I was leaving lots of things off my dress. Interfacing. Sleeves.
Since I have a minute or two here for Mom to catch up with me, I accidentally twisted my seam when it went through the machine, so I just popped those stitches out and I'm going to re-sew that. That way my seam is going exactly where I want it to be and it's not twisted at all. There we go.
Well, we'll start with this, like Becky said.
Norma said her name is Norma Jean. Lots of Jeans out there.
Are they all in my age group? Because that must have been a popular name at the time.
I'm sure they are. Tony said, your name is beautiful and it was a gift from your parents.
And so now you know I'm the black sheep, right? True story.
Hello, Anne-Marie. Sandra Campbell says, my mom's name is Nancy Jean and my middle name is Jean. So when she used to get mad at me, she would holler my full name.
I did that with none of mine had Jean as a middle name.
Nope.
My son used to get upset when I'd call him by the girl's name.
Trying to get this out of the way.
To this day, they try to call him Aunt Bill.
I'm going to have some Ritz. Do you want some?
No.
Anne-Marie says, Becca, I just got a Juki. What foot do you use for your quilting? I just use the standard foot that came with the Juki. They do have a 1/4 inch foot though, but I like this one because the edge of the foot is a scant 1/4 inch and just a couple threads beyond that is a true 1/4 inch. So it's what I got used to using and I've just stuck with it.
Becca, I love this so far.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to live on the wild side tomorrow with our snacks. Gardettos and then ice cream. I mean, does it get any better?
We're driving an hour for ice cream.
Well, of course, we got to go see Mary Berry.
Debbie Horton says, yes, I'm the same age as you, Mama Nancy.
Oh, God, love it.
All right, let me see it. Pin it here. Oh, Katie just sent us a $10 tip.
Oh, Katie, you're too sweet. You send her tips all the time.
All right. Now, the only thing that I would have done differently here, you pressed your seams both going in this direction. I would actually change it so that it's going underneath here. And the reason for that, I'm going to show you, is this is white fabric. And
Oh, that purple's going to show.
The purple won't show necessarily, but if you get a couple loose threads off of that purple, it's going to show more under here than it would the white under the purple. So since we're dealing with a white background, it's always going to be better to try. We're not going to be able to do 100% of the time. Press it so that the only seams that are under the white are white fabric.
Okay. Oh, you don't need me to take my roller to it?
Nope, because I'm taking the heat to it, Mom.
Roki dokie.
I'm going to give it some heat from the back and from the front.
Not bad for
Not bad at all.
a beginner, sort of.
The one side, this one side is perfect. This one's just a little off. I'm just going to clean up the edges for you a bit.
Yeah, you do that.
I'll teach you how to do this later, but this is probably a bit much.
I
since
keep
you don't have
you
the
to
cutting
do
mat.
my trim work.
I cut these squares at 4.5 inches. So when we took our 1/4 inch off of all of the sides, this square should measure 2.5 inches. The good news is I'm sorry, 4 inches when it's finished. It's 4 inches this way. It is not 4 inches this way. This one area is off just a little bit, but it'll be okay. I'm going to look to see what it says that this center square should measure at. It says 8.5 by 8.5. So I'm going to try and get 8.5 out of this with a ruler that doesn't. Okay, you are shy. You are definitely shy.
A lot?
Yeah, about 1/4 inch all the way around. But that's not going to be the end of the world, because, you know, we're early enough in the process where we could rip the seams and adjust your seam allowance, which is going to probably be better for you. We can do one of two things here.
Rip it.
We can rip 4 seams and redo 4 seams and teach you to get that consistent 1/4 inch. The other thing that we can do, and I think I know what you're doing wrong, and I'll show you in a minute, but the other thing that we could do is just continue what you're doing and being consistent with that seam allowance and adjusting the fabric and the way we're cutting it and making the pattern fit you. It is far better, as much as this is painful, it is far better for you to learn how to get that accurate 1/4 inch though.
Rip it.
Okay? You heard the woman. She said rip it.
Oh, and I can't want to. I can't want to. This is painful.
It's not that painful. It's only 4 seams. I think I know what's happening though, because I watched you when you were putting the fabric in. It's a control issue. You got to keep, and I wished I could show this on camera, but I don't have a camera over at your machine. It's really about you just keeping control of the fabric and paying attention to it as it's going in. You're letting it kind of veer a little bit instead of keeping it straight.
At the end, especially.
Yeah. I had a misconception when I first started sewing that if you were a good sewer, you would just be able to go without ever stopping. And what I learned is that's not actually, at least for me, maybe there are some quilters out there that can do that, but I actually learned that I do have to stop, and it is okay to stop. I stop every couple inches to readjust. And in the beginning, I felt like I was stopping every inch or so, adjusting my fabrics, making sure everything was lined up. It was going in right. It wasn't being pulled to one side or the other. And then as I got more confident, I could go a little bit further.
Okay.
Don't feel like you have to go all the way through the seam without stopping.
And the one I used the pins on was my best seam.
So then what you're
We have
learning
to
is
pin.
you need to pin. right? Don't do what I'm doing, right? That's why I said I was going to clip, because I was going to match what you are doing. It is far better for you to pin and be accurate than to not pin and have to rip the seams, right?
Okay.
And honestly, if we were just putting the squares together, it would probably be okay. But at the end, you want to turn this into a star block, which means we're going to have points that we don't want to lose. So you're going to want to be
As accurate as I can.
Mm-hmm. All right. These all have creases in them, so I'm going to press them to get the creases out.
That was painful.
It's not that bad.
What are you talking about?
It's 4 seams. You could have, somebody else is out there. I guarantee you, somebody else is out there going, oh, you got to see this video where Becca just rejected her mom's work like 3 times in a row.
But Mama's not upset.
Man, her mom kept handing her pieces of fabric, and Becca kept getting the seam ripper and go, no, do it again.
Now you're starting to sound like that home ec teacher.
We'll start smacking you with a yardstick.
Use a duster instead.
Okay, I happen to have one of those right here.
Oh, joy.
All right, let's try this one more time.
With pins.
Pin this, right. But before we do that, hold on. We're going to test your quarter inch.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm. Do you know how we're going to test your 1/4 inch?
I'm afraid you're going to tell me.
Okay. We're going to take some scrap pieces of fabric that I know the measurements of. We're going to do this and 2 of these. And I want some good contrast so I can show on the camera what we're doing. This is the same fabric that you're using right now. I'm going to cut it down because this isn't quite 2.5 inches wide. I'm going to cut all of these as 2-inch squares.
Uno, dos.
Mm-hmm. The important thing is I just need to, I can do this with any size. I just need to know what size I'm working with so that I can do the math. When we take a 1/4 inch on 2 sides of our fabric, we're really reducing our fabric by 1/2 inch.
Right.
So if I've got a 2-inch square, the center piece and the 2 white pieces on either side are, all 3 of these are 2 inches. If I tell you to sew a white square to either side of that purple square, then when you're done, this purple square from the left to the right should measure 2 inches. I'm sorry, 1.5 inches, because I started with 2. So this is the way we're going to test your 1/4 inch. We're going to take these 3 2-inch squares.
Oh no, Mr. Bill.
Oh my gosh. You're going to put this into your machine. And now here's what I want you to do. We're going to move this over. I'm lining up her magnetic seam guide to the position that I believe is a good 1/4 inch for this. Put your presser foot down.
No, I don't want
No,
that there.
that's actually lift the fabric out. You gotta get right in front. There you go. Try that. Put your presser foot down. Okay, put your needle in. Now sew. Stop. Do you see how these 2 pieces, the edges right there are not lined up? Stop.
And fix
And
that.
just scratch it into place. Mm-hmm. It helps if you put your foot up. The needle stays down, so it's still anchoring everything. There you go. That's what you need to keep an eye on. Now go. Go slow. Don't worry about being fast. There you go. Cut your thread and put this onto the other side. Do the same thing.
I can just press them all out at the same time?
Yes. Brianna says, one of my first quilts was a 4-column basket weave. I did all of them wrong and I took them all apart.
Oh dear. That was painful.
Oh, Renee, is it Renee? She said a tip for you would be to draw the 1/4 inch line on the fabric and then you can just sew on the line.
See, that's what I want to do for hand quilting, draw a design on the fabric.
Well, until we get you used to your 1/4 inch, a good way to help you learn it visually would be to draw the line. So I will do that for you for a couple of these. And then you don't have to worry too much about lining the fabric up. You just need to keep the needle on the line. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you, Renee.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It takes more time, but it'll help you get more accurate piecing more quickly. And eventually what'll happen is you'll start to become familiar with what that 1/4 inch looks like, and you'll be able to say, okay, that looks off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a water-soluble marker that I'm using.
I've heard you talk about that.
Yeah, so when we starch the block at the end, this mark will go away, but it'll stay there until we do a steam or a starch press. So you'll see the blue marks in the white fabric, just so you know.
Thank you.
Let me go get you set up. Okay. I have drawn your marks. I'll test that out. You have a ruler right here that you can use. So what you're looking
It's
for.
wonky.
You're not going straight again. I think you're having a hard time sewing straight. So these lines are going to help you. Forget about this. You don't need that. You're going to lay this down, put this on here, and just keep your needle on top of that blue line. Don't let the needle stray. Pin it in place so that the raw edges are lined up and keep your needle on the blue line.
Okay.
I'm back and forth a lot.
She's not doing a lot of sewing, but I'm doing a lot of learning.
That's okay. Aw, Christine just sent a $4.99 tip. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. That was very nice.
She's buying our ice cream tomorrow. Put your foot down. There you go.
See, I'm not lined up. See?
Get your pins.
Oh, I forgot I have to pin myself.
Pin it in place. Line up the raw edges and pin it in place. And then sew on the blue line. Tony says you can do it.
I love you, Tony.
Renee says, I'm happy to help.
Thank you so much.
Gloria said, I'm 74 and all of my adult life of sewing, I made sure my 5/8 inches were as accurate as possible. So 2 years of piecing, I'm still trying to always get that 1/4 inch right. Not always right though. Listen, the elusive 1/4 inch, and I do believe everybody's 1/4 inch is a little bit different. You just got to find what works for you and your machine and go that way. And if drawing your seams on your fabric is what works for you, then do it. There is no right or wrong way. It's just the way that you enjoy doing what needs to be done.
Can I sew over my needles?
I would not. You probably could. You're probably not likely to cause any damage, but if you did, the damage could be pretty bad, so it's not recommended. Go slower. You want to keep that needle on the line, and when you're going that fast, you might be veering off a little bit. Stop, take that needle out.
I was when I got closer.
Okay. There you go. That's a good pace for you.
For now, anyway. Look, almost perfect.
Perfect. Remember, flip it over on its belly. Put your finger in between the two pieces of fabric. Snip your threads.
Well, I'm trying to snip my threads.
But you don't need to snip those right now. Those are white threads. They're not going to show anywhere. I mean, snip them if you want to, but they're white threads that aren't going to show anywhere. The only person that's going to see the inside of the quilt when it's all done is no one. But if that's what makes you happy.
Don't you ever use pinking shears?
No.
Okay. Oh, on its belly.
Yep, on its belly. Finger.
This way.
No, Mom. Both pieces together on its belly. Turn it over on its belly. Turn it around. Put your fingers in between the two layers and just push it over. Pat it down so that you don't have any pockets. And now take it to the mat and do your wooden roller thingy. There you go. Looks good. Now you're going to do the other short side.
That's what I'm looking for.
And then after you've done those two pieces, I'll put some heat on it.
Right sides together.
Mm-hmm.
See, I started to sew it backwards.
Katrina says the only threads I worry about are the ones that sneak through to the front. Yes. But again, it's all creative journey, right? This is supposed to be a process that makes you feel creative, and it should be something that you enjoy doing. And if you don't enjoy doing it, then don't do it that way. So if what makes her happy is to clip every single one of the threads, would I do that? No, but it makes her happy. So I'm not going to judge her. She's going to do what makes her happy.
Me.
Right. She's pinning. Would I pin? No. But is it the wrong choice? No, because it works for her. Donna said nothing is sadder than a dark thread showing through to the top. You are right. And I have had a couple of quilt tops that I've gotten on the long arm, and I didn't clean up those dark threads behind my white background, and I had to go maneuver in between the batting and the quilt top to find it and clip it. So I know what you're talking about.
When you could have just clipped it to begin with.
Justin says, I've been teaching my 6-year-old granddaughter to sew. I give her a piece of lined paper and have her try to sew on the blue line. That's kind of what we're doing here, except the blue line in this case is actually on fabric for Mom this time. Yes, that's right. And I haven't sewn actually for that long, but longer than Mom has. She's made one quilt on a sewing machine. What color thread do you use for piecing? Jules asking. Normally I use 6722. But I am running a little low on that color, and I've got some light gray, so I'm using 2600 right now. Six, 722 is like a creamy color. It's actually this color right here. Show you on the overhead. This is 6722. This is my go-to color for piecing. It's a very soft cream that translates to almost like a white thread, but it's got some more dimension there other than just stark white. Right now, though, I have a large spool of 2600 on the machine. You might also find, actually, I'm watching you work through this, and I think there's a tool over here that you're going to love. Do you know what an awl is?
Nope.
Okay. So we're going to let you use this. As you're feeding your fabric into the machine, to help keep control on it, you can use this as your finger rather than your actual finger. So you don't have to worry about...
Oh no. On its belly.
Push it back. There you go. Good job. Very good. She did it.
You want me to do the other two now too?
No, we're going to press this. You can use that to kind of keep a hold of your fabric when it's trying to go crooked on you and you don't want to get your fingers close to the needle.
Thank you all for being so patient while I go through this learning spell.
You're totally fine. They're here for the company too.
You're getting a whole lot of Becca tonight.
I found some machines won't sew through without thread, so sewing on paper didn't work for me to teach my granddaughter, Shelley said. I am waiting for the iron to heat up. One of these days I'm going to learn that as she is nearing the point where the block needs to be pressed, I should make sure that the iron is fully heated. Oh no, don't do that.
Too late.
Also, I took a shower right before the live stream. My hair is not done, but I feel so clean.
You got a lot of wave in your hair now.
I know.
Menopause does that.
It happened before that. It happened when I got pregnant with Zoe.
But it's even more, I was going to say it's even more pregnant. It's even more wavy now than it was when you were pregnant with Zoe.
So a couple of things that I absolutely love about what you did here. You took a few extra seconds to pin, and I can tell you did because your raw edges between the white and the purple are perfectly lined up in both spots, and you're straight over here. You're not angled differently. And when I look at the back, your stitching is much straighter than it was before. This one, you're not on the blue line, but you were consistently right next to it all the way down, which is exactly what we're looking for. That guide is there to help keep you going straight.
But I do like the lines.
Okay, so we are going to use the lines. That means that as we're working on projects, you might have to take some time to measure and just draw a line on the fabric.
Right
But-
sides together.
Yeah.
I had it right.
Yeah, that's right. That's the right side of your block. Pin it in place. Make sure that that blue line is showing because you're going to sew on the blue line.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
Up.
If you like sewing on the lines, Mom, you got to try the foundation paper piecing.
I just can't get it on fire about that.
That's fine, but if sewing on the line is your thing, I told her I want her to make a block with traditional piecing and then make the same block using FPP just to see what she thinks. It's one of those things where she might not be excited about it, but she also hasn't tried it. So it's like telling your kid that when they say, I don't like Brussels sprouts, well, they never tried it. So you can't say you don't like it if you haven't tried it. You might not be excited to eat it, but you might find after you take a couple of bites that you love it.
Or it's disgusting.
Gidget says, is that a new shirt? I love it. I've had this for about a year, but I've been wearing it a whole lot more lately.
You've been doing the new kids thing.
Yeah.
Mama wants to go see them just to touch Donnie.
Danny Donnie.
Danny Donnie.
Becky says, we're learning right along with you.
Aw.
She is pinning her seam. Becky said, now I want sprouts.
Ick. When my dad was a cook when we were growing up because my mom worked day shift. And when he made Brussels sprouts, he boiled them till they were soggy.
Oh, no.
They were nasty. Right up there with my mother's stuffing. She turned it green.
Oh, that's weird. Sew on the blue line, please.
I have to put another pin in, please.
Okay. You put as many pins in as you need to keep everything nice and tidy for you. And then if you do that work now, then all you have to really do is just focus on your needle staying on the line.
See, this is where I get frustrated.
What are you frustrated with? Talk me through it.
No, it's just getting this to line up and keeping it that way. So you do that.
Mm-hmm. No 6722 thread at Amazon. Oh, 2000 is another good color too.
Oh, now it lines up perfectly.
If you could see Mom sitting there in her pajamas, the light bulb is starting to go bing. Like I just saw you go. Oh.
Yeah, because this lined up.
See, that's how you know you're sewing with a good 1/4 inch, because the pieces that you cut, your middle section, that square with those 2 shorter edges, is exactly 8.5 inches. Nice and slow, stay on that blue line.
I will.
Let me start getting us ready for the next step. I was worried, I'll be honest, I was worried when I started pulling the pattern together and getting the fabrics ready, that we were going to do a block and have so much time left over. Nope, 2 hours, we're going to get 1 block done. And that's okay. Okay.
What do you mean, okay?
Oh, I'm saying okay to the next step.
Oh, okay. Snip, snip, snip over. Oh, I forgot to use this thing.
She's talking about the Annie's 4-in-1 thing that she forgot to use, and that's okay. So there are some tools that work for some people and some that don't. And yes, for those of you that are looking at this and you see what I'm doing, I am using my long arm quilting ruler to mark my edges. Don't judge.
Okay. Yeah. Excuse me. Howdy, friends and neighbors.
Hello, Eric.
Hello, Eric. Come sew with me. Okay, now this one.
She's putting the last piece on that square, the last border on it.
Don't forget to turn your iron on.
Thanks for the reminder.
You be welcome.
Hand me your little purple squares, your ruler and your pen. I'm going to mark this stuff
Only
for you.
the purple ones?
Yep, just hand me up. Yep, just that for right now. I'm going to mark this for you.
Okay.
Since I'm doing the marking, this will make your life a little bit easier.
And even pinning it, this side is perfect.
There you go.
On the end.
Look at that. You found your niche. You figured out how to do it. Drawing the lines makes all the difference in the world for you. I won't tell you guys that she's putting the pin in her mouth before she puts it into the fabric.
Mm-hmm. And just so you know, I normally always sew over the pins.
Well, you shouldn't. But if that is your comfort zone...
No, I'm not going to do it on this machine. This machine costs a lot of money.
It did cost a lot of money. But I got a steal of a deal on it because it was a classroom special.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Raymond hooked me up.
Is that guy?
Sylvie says to buy her a seam guide. She has a seam guide. And she had a 1/4 inch foot too. And it still was
wonky.
She was still wonky. She's having a hard time sewing straight. The lines are helping her. In time, she'll be able to do this, I think, without the lines, but this is almost like training wheels. She's just learning to ride the bike, so the line helps her.
Which side do I
That
use?
side.
This one?
No. Yep.
You see, I forgot again.
By doing it that way, by using that to hold onto the fabric down here, and I'll show you what she's doing, by using this point to keep it on the fabric, you have better visibility on the needle going on the line because your hand's not in the way.
Yep. And that was a problem earlier. Oh, remove the needle.
Honestly, any tool with a sharp point or a pointed end will work. A seam ripper will work for that. A pin, a number of things. But I have, if you're liking doing that, Mother, I have this beautiful purple. This is made just for that. This stiletto, if you want to use that, that's a pretty tool. It's like a piece of jewelry in your hand.
The one I got is fine.
Okay.
This material is fraying something fierce.
It'll be okay. It's fraying a little bit, but it's not as bad as it could be.
Look how pretty this one is.
They're going to see it in just a minute.
I was speaking to you.
I know, I see it. Barbara Jean says, say hello to Mama Nancy for me, please. I love to hear her voice.
Oh, you just became my new best friend.
Glenda says, hey, sorry I'm late. My oldest son, who is only 43, had 2 strokes. Oh no, but he's back home now and he has a long road ahead of him. Aw.
Oh, my foot hurts. Oh.
Let me see it so I can press it for you. That, now compared to what you had before, right?
It was painful.
You ripped the seams, but worth it?
Yeah, I knew it would be.
Wait till you see. I dare say that her square is better than mine. I didn't pin or anything. It looks good. We're going to measure it and see how you did.
I keep thinking about pressing those towards the center, but I'm not pressing, so measure it.
It's a little shy, but nothing that needs to be undone for. If you're off like 1/8 of an inch, you're usually okay, or less, so I won't rip for that. It looks like, I don't know what happened here, but this is bowed a little bit. Ah, I see what happened. We're not going to rip the seam for this. When I hand it back to you, look at your stitching on the side. You started out on the line and then you went to the right of the line and then you came back over.
I did a drunken stitch.
Yeah. So when you're sewing on the line, you're going too fast still. Slow down. Keep your eyes on the
But I
needle.
like going 70 and a 50.
Well, that's fine. And eventually you will, but you can't do 70 and a 50 when you're learning to drive the car, Bill.
Do not call me that.
Okay.
Your sister Bill would not appreciate it.
That's not nice. Okay, so here we go. This is her block. Much better this time around. Much better. Much, much better. Our next step is going to put one more border around here. So let me show you where we're going to be. So we have done this piece, right? And now we're going to take our white strips and we're going to stitch and flip on opposite ends and put those borders on with some cornerstones and we'll have our block finished. To do that, you can take this back because we're done with that for right now. and you can take all of those. You're going to take a long piece of white.
Okay.
Set that block that you just sewed aside. We're done with that for right now. You want a long piece of white and 2 of your purple, in your case, purple squares. We're going to deal with one at a time.
How do you know which way to make these lines go?
Well, since the white fabric is white and there's no print on it, it doesn't matter as long as the purple line that I drew from one corner to the other is face up so you can see it.
But it doesn't matter where the diagonal goes?
Nope, not for the first one. The second one it will, but the first one it doesn't.
Well, then I'm going to put it back like I had it.
However works for you. Glenda says, I love the blocks you were making.
Me too.
All right, this is what we call a stitch and flip method. And I'm going to talk the audience through this while you're getting that over there. When you put a pin in this, doesn't matter where you put the pin, but just know that we're going to sew right next to that line, right on that line, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, however that works. So this is called a stitch and flip because we're marking from corner to corner on the back side of this square. We're going to stitch on that line and then we're going to flip the fabric over. And basically what it's going to do is kind of snowball this corner. And there's a couple of tips that we're going to work through on this that'll help her understand how to get that accurate. My tip for you, if you are already experienced with this, and we're going to walk you through it too, is when you're sewing, don't sew directly on this line. You're going to want to sew just one thread to the right of that line. So, well, I guess that depends, because if you're feeding it in this way, it's going to be the left. You want to sew one thread towards
Which
the
way?
outside. How are you going to feed it into your machine? Show me. Okay, you want to sew just one thread to the right of that line.
Okay.
So sew right next to the line. Don't sew on it. Just sew right next to it. The reason why you're sewing next to that line is because you're allowing just a little bit of room in the fabric for the thread that you're adding in by sewing. Set my seam. Some heat. Somebody said, I see Ritz crackers.
Yes, you do. Oh, I forgot about this thing.
That's really good for keeping visibility on that line. She's using the awl stiletto.
It's wonky.
Okay, that's okay. Finish the seam and let's see how wonky it is, because you're almost through it. Take your pin out. Now pull everything out. Don't worry about trimming your threads yet, because we don't know if this is correct.
Yeah, because look at...
What? Hold on, I'm going to teach you. So take your fabric with the square on top.
Okay.
Put your finger in between the two layers and just push it up and over. Now, from the top, do you see any white peeking through? No, keep it folded up and over. Look at me. Look what I'm doing. When I fold it up and over, do you see any white peeking through when you're looking at it from the top?
Yeah. Right here.
No, that's this side. This corner right here. Do you see? Lay it down on the table. You flipped. Do this. Lay it down on the table. There you go. Push the fabric up and over. When you do that, look to see along these two edges, look at my finger, if you have any white fabric extending past those sides.
No.
Okay, now flip it over. Now do you see the purple extending past those two sides?
Yes.
How much? A thread or two?
A lot.
Okay, let me show them. That's how you can check to make sure that you sewed it on correctly. So what we've got here, the same thing, I just want to show it to you one more time. So for stitch and flips, you can test your accuracy by stitching next to that line and then flipping it over. And what you're looking for is once this is pressed down, you don't want to see that background fabric on this edge or this edge from the top. And then when I flip it over, the piece that I flipped, I don't want to see extending here or here. On Mom's sample, yeah, I can see how much you're off. But on Mom's sample, she stitched, and when I flip over, I don't see the background peeking through, so that might be okay. She already knew she had a problem because she had the little V's down here. But when she flips it over, she can see the purple extending this way. So sadly, actually no.
Really?
So if you flip this over and you don't see if you flipped it over and you saw the background, you'd have to rip because you sewed to the left of the line. But if your stitching is too far to the right of the line, all you got to do is just sew again. You don't have to rip it. So this time just try. I've noticed when I told you to sew on the line, you were actually where I needed you to be. So try sewing on the line.
I prefer that.
Sew on the line.
Sew me, baby, sew me.
Sandy said there's nothing wrong with wonky, especially when you're learning.
Oh, my thing. It's stuck. Yeah.
The corner of the fabric went down into the feed dog, so let me rescue her. Oh, you got it. Man, my knee is really messed up today.
Mine too.
Cut your thread. There we go. Oh, all right. What you can do to help avoid that is use a leader and ender, but we're not going to play with that. So just try that again.
Thank you, Beck.
Welcome. Here, if you want to help the fabric not go down in there a little bit, move that out. We're just going to use this as a leader and ender. Just put it down. Start sewing really quick. No. Start sewing. Sew off of that fabric, all the way off. Okay, stop. Now line that up. Don't cut your thread. Just start sewing onto the line. Oh my goodness. Jane says, thank you, Becca. You were so kind. Setting out cookies for company. Did it go back in? Okay.
It might be okay now.
There it goes.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go. You got it. Stay on that line. Nice and slow. Perfect. That should be pretty good. Now cut that thread off. You're going to have to cut away that other piece of fabric.
Oh, yeah, it's not wonky like it was.
Donut Day, National Donut Day?
I need one badly.
She's looking at you backwards. She needs to sit beside you to watch what you are telling her. Well, yeah, yes. However, she's also not even looking. I'm sure trying to show her, and she's like, eyes are somewhere else.
Turn your iron on.
It's on.
Okay.
All right, now, do you remember how to test that?
You fold it back.
Mm-hmm. And do you see, once you fold it back and crease it down, do you see the back fat? Do you see anything poking out? Just got it.
It looks good.
Now flip it over. How does it look on the back side? She loves that seam roller.
Yeah, but see, here's my problem. This is poking out just a smidge.
A hair, a thread or two,
Yeah,
it's fine.
because it's not even.
It's fine. A thread or two is
Okay.
fine. I would leave it.
Okay.
She has like a thread.
Okay.
Okay. So now you hand it here. I'm going to trim that for you. You could do this with scissors if you wanted to.
I'm really tired.
I know, but we're almost done. Are you ready to stop? Yeah, your seams are getting really wonky. I think you're ready to stop.
I am. I'm super, super tired.
Okay. I'm going to rip this seam because it actually,
It's wonky.
it's still wonky. Your eyes are probably getting tired. So I'm going to finish the block and show them what it looks like, and we'll work on this tomorrow, okay?
Okay. You finish. I'm good with that. But I still have all these.
I know. You will have a block finished tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Go sit in your chair and put your feet up. But I am going to rip this because
It's wonky.
it's okay. Wonky is okay.
It's just... Oh.
I could tell you were getting a little frustrated by the look on your face when you're like, it's going in again. I was like, okay, she's done.
Yeah, for tonight I'm done,
And
fellas.
there's nothing wrong with when something's new, taking a break. So what I'm going to do is stitch and flip on both sides of all 4 of these long pieces. One side is going to be angled in, the other side is going to angle in this way. And we're just going to knock through these really quick.
Thank you, Beck.
You're welcome.
Aw.
Donna said, Nancy, you did good.
Well, thank you.
You did. Keep in mind, this is only the second quilt that you've ever made on a machine, right?
With instruction.
With instruction. You haven't sewn on a machine much at all. You're still learning how to keep control of the fabric. And for that reason, you're taking on a pretty intricate pattern, right? Like, there's a reason why when you tell somebody you want to create a quilt, or you tell a quilter that you want to make a quilt, they tell you that what you should do is just grab some squares and sew them together. Because your practice, what you're really perfecting is sewing a straight line. And you're learning how to get that seam allowance nice and tight. I just did this wrong.
Ah.
I angled it in the wrong direction.
Well, Rebecca Dawn.
I know it.
At least it isn't Jean.
There we go. Lori said you did great, Nancy.
Thank you, Lori.
Now you can text Mary.
I just really don't feel like texting.
Okay.
Truth be known, as soon as the live's over, I'm going downstairs.
You look like that took a lot out of you.
Well, I got up early.
Mm,
When you texted me, did I want Starbucks? You woke me up.
not bad.
But it's okay.
It's so funny. I feel like, and it's not a feel like, I know, anytime I have to do something that taxes my brain, I feel like I get more, like when I'm learning something, I get more tired. I get tired faster than physical exercise. And it's a different type of
mental
tired.
stress.
It's a
Yep.
mental exhaustion. And the only way I can recover from that is with sleep.
Yep.
Like with a physical workout, you just need to sit and let your body rest, and then you can get up and do more. It's different, right? Like because your body's like, okay, we can do more. Just like I just need a break. But your brain's like, no, you need to go to sleep.
Maybe could we go to the gym tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I have a meeting, but we can do it after.
Oh, it's Saturday. I didn't think you had meetings tomorrow.
It's a quilting meeting.
Oh, okay.
Other job, mom.
Other job.
Other job.
Thank you so much for teaching me this.
You're welcome. It just takes time and patience. And you have to know when you're at your capacity, right? Once your brain bucket is full and you can't learn anything more, or you're starting to get frustrated, walk away.
I did.
If all you did was 4 seams, you did 4 seams. You did 4 really good seams. And then you walked away.
The lines helped me a lot.
Well, I figured I didn't figure that wasn't my idea. So I'm not going to act like it was my idea, but I could see why they would.
Oh, look at me. I
She's
look
got
like I've been
threads.
sewing.
She got threads all over her jammies.
I need a lint roller.
I have something you can use. I'll get it after the live.
That's fine. You know, all these threads are going in the floor.
Linda said, "You raised a natural teacher, Mama."
You know, she is good. It's something she has always enjoyed doing. Teaching, that is.
Yeah.
But not a bunch of kindergartners.
No. All right.
And you know, when you were doing that, I said, she's not going to be a kid. She won't be a teacher at school.
I want to teach people that want to be there, not have to be there.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
A want and a need.
Mm-hmm. If you want to be there, you are more willing to put in the work and pay attention.
Yeah.
If you need to be there, it's not always the same. Your mom is so kind and appreciative. I agree.
Well, thank you.
True sign of a sewer. You got threads.
Someone said I had to cut all those dad burn threads off of there. Wonder who told me that.
All right, I'm going to press all of these stitch and flips up and out of the way. I've got 4 sides, and then we're just going to put these on around my block. I'm really excited for how this is going to look when it's all done. All right, now here's how we're going to lay it out. This is the center, and then we're going to take each of these 4 sides that we just made and lay them out so that we're angling in almost like we're putting star legs on a block. And then we have 4 little white squares that are going to go in the corners. So first, before I do anything else, I'm going to add these white squares to the top and bottom, and then I'm going to make the middle row. I'll put my top row on and my bottom row on. When I do this, I'm going to press. I'm going to try to press. I'm going to press away. This is going a little. What does the directions say to do? Oh, it says to press open. Fine. Okay. we'll do that too. I was going to actually press away from the half square triangle unit, but I'm going to follow the pattern instructions in this case. Press that open. The interest level is there when you want to be present. That's right. Yeah, Tiffany, I know. Tiffany said this quilt will have a lot of negative space to quilt in. I know, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, because you're the one going to quilt it.
Oh, I'm going to do both. Okay, I guess I'll get to do that times 2. Well, mine will probably be done well before Mom's is. So there's one row. We're going to do the top row now. Lori said I should have been rich.
Oh, I would like that.
Glenda said, wow, I love that block. First time seeing it. It's a nice block. Free pattern over at Fat Quarter Shop. I am probably going to make this the project that I just keep working on. I don't want to juggle 4, 5, 6 projects anymore at one time. Maybe a couple. I just did what Mom did. See?
Did you make it wonky?
No, I sewed the wrong
you
side.
sewed the wrong side.
See? Everybody does that once in a while. I want to start working on just a couple of projects at a time, just so I can enjoy them a little bit more. I feel like at the start of the year, I did 100, like I was 5 or 6 projects in a week, and it was a little overwhelming. So I want to kind of limit it to 2 or 3. This will be one that I work on. As I get things straightened out. Pressing this seam open.
So I guess my eyes navigate towards boutiques, right?
Batiks, yes.
That's what I meant.
Both of her quilts have had batiks in them. The first one is a strip quilt that is made out of batiks, and the second one is a batik layer cake. All right, so there's that. Now I'm going to make my middle row. Why are we doing this?
If you're getting frustrated, you should walk away.
I just lost bobbin chicken.
Oh.
Ah!
None?
I majorly lost bobbin chicken. It's time to wind some bobbins and do some needles. Do a needle change, but I'm not doing that before the live stream's over. So we're going to just wind one bobbin and delay the needle change by 1 bobbin's worth. I don't even have my bobbin spool loaded because I ran out.
What am I going to do with you?
I know.
What was the guy's name from Pretty Woman? The movie.
Richard Gere?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I got told no.
Oh, Richard Gere played it.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Him and J-Lo.
Huh?
Him and J-Lo.
No,
No,
Mom.
not J-Lo. Julia Roberts.
There you go. I knew it was just a...
So it wasn't a J-Lo, it was a J-Ro.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was a J-Ro.
You're going to laugh about that all night now, aren't you?
J-Ro!
J-Ro, get over here. In my best Southern accent.
Katie said, so what you're saying is you're no further on the Brooklyn Bridge than I am.
That's exactly right. Plus, I just don't like bridges.
All right, try this again.
Do it correctly this time back.
Well, it would help if there was bobbin.
Oh,
What is the name of this pretty pattern? Explanation pattern will get you a link. This is what the pattern looks like. It's a free download from Fat Quarter Shop. It is called the Layer Cake Pop Quilt Pattern. If you are watching the replay, I will link it in the show notes down below the video.
is Ian still in the chat? I didn't tell him hello.
You know, his birthday was on Tuesday.
I wished him happy birthday on Tuesday,
Good. I'm glad you did that.
I think. Yeah, when you were talking to him, I did.
Okay, let me press this. It says to press the sides open as well. So I'll do that. I feel like I have been providing a very boring live stream tonight.
I'm sorry.
No, I don't. No, that's not towards you. That wasn't anything towards you. I think I feel that way because I feel like I've been sewing with you and teaching you rather than doing a live stream.
Oh.
Which is not a bad thing at all. I don't mean it to sound the way it probably comes across.
Oh, you're fine.
I think what I'm trying to say is I don't feel it's 2 hours in and I don't feel like I've been on camera for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm probably using the really wrong words, but
Oh, you're fine.
it's not a complaint at all. It just at the end of a live stream, I usually feel exhausted and like, okay, but I don't feel that way. I feel like I haven't been streaming for 2 hours.
Yeah. You know what else we have to nibble on tomorrow?
Hmm.
Some cinnamon raisin bagels and cream cheese.
Mm. Jason likes that with cream cheese and grape jelly.
Ew, I hate grape jelly.
Strawberry is superior.
It is. And I dislike grape juice. Unless we're taking communion.
Candy says, time flies when you're having fun.
Are you working on yours?
Mm-hmm. My block is almost done. I've got one more seam and then I'm going to press it. And I'll be able to show you what the block looks like.
Turn your iron on.
We're going to make, it's already on. I just used it. We're going to make this block, well, 20 times according to the pattern if you want to make it a throw size. I think Mom has her sight set on making this block 40 times and making the quilt much bigger and using up all of the fabric from her layer cake. I don't blame her. I would do the same thing. Cinnamon raisin bagels and cream cheese. Your friend said, yummy.
Which friend?
Mary.
Oh, Mary, I could give you one Sunday. Sunday fun day.
Sunday. Now, the pattern instructions say to press these seams open. I don't know that I think that that's necessarily needed. And I think it probably makes getting your points matched a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. So I think in future blocks, I will not be doing that. But for this block, I followed the pattern instructions. Mary said, okie dokie, you're on.
Love her heart.
Which is not the same as bless her heart.
That's right.
I'm hungry.
What are you going to have?
I don't know.
I have Apple Jacks if you want. I'm not Apple Jacks,
No.
Lucky Charms.
I can't do milk this late at night. It does weird things to me that I don't like dealing with in the morning. Might just make a sandwich.
No.
And stay up for a bit instead of going to lay down right after I eat.
I also have cinnamon waffles.
Oh, delicious.
Actually, they were. I don't need syrup or nothing on them.
I don't eat. Yeah, I like that stuff without syrup. All right, I'm going to give this a mist of best press and a final shot of iron, and then I'll show you the block. Tiffany said, I like the cinnamon raisin bagels with butter because cream cheese is not good for my gut.
I like it with butter also. Sometimes that's all I use.
I like the butter too. I like it whenever you toast bagels or bread or anything, and then you put the salted butter on there and it melts. Oh. And then if you put like some strawberry jam on top of the butter toast. What I don't like is when you go to a restaurant and they give you toast, but they didn't put the butter on the toast when the toast was warm, so it never melted.
Ew.
I know. I'm like, you couldn't get the butter to melt. So this is the block. You know, I'm gonna make. Oh gosh, that's so pretty. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I might want to do that one.
Well,
no.
You've got your batiks. Yours doesn't look like this because you don't have the little bow ties, but once you put those little bow ties on the ends,
it's going to be stunning.
It's going to be really pretty. So I love this. And what's going to end up happening is these four corners, if I had another block to show you, I could show it a little bit better, but I'll show you in the pattern. These four corners, this is the block. Look at this yellow one. This is the block that you're putting together. This is the block that you're putting together. Look at that yellow piece. You've got your star legs in the four corners and the piece in the middle. But what ends up happening is as you're putting them together, you're not putting any sashing next to them. You're just sewing the blocks next to each other. So it's going to create these secondary star patterns, which when I saw the picture of the quilt right here, that's what jumped out at me, was this really pretty star with the little squares look like sashing, but you're actually doing it a little bit differently. So I'm really excited to put this one together. I can't wait to have it done. And I'm using one of my treasured fabric lines that I have had sitting on my shelf forever.
I really forgot you gave that to me
Yeah, so I gave it to my mom
years ago.
years ago. I bought a charm pack of this and a layer cake of it. And mom saw the layer cake and did the thing where she was like, I want to make a quilt. And I was like, okay, the best way to make a quilt is to sew some squares together. Actually, this is the third quilt you've ever worked on because you did the cardinal one, the cardinal squares.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, all you got to do is sew the squares together. So pick a layer cake that you like. And she picked this one. And she opened it up. And I was like, just take it home and just sew the squares together. I showed her how to do it at my house. And she went home and I got her a sewing machine and it sat. And it sat. And it sat. And when I moved into this house, she brought a tub full of sewing stuff back. She's like, I'm not going to use this. You can have it back. And this layer cake was in it. Shrink wrap was removed, label was removed, but I knew what fabric line it was. And so I put it on my shelf and it's been sitting there. And so when she said she wanted to do something and I pulled this pattern down and I saw that it needed a layer cake, I figured I'd use this layer cake. So now this will have a little bit of special meaning to me because it's a fabric line from one of my favorite designers. It's a layer cake that I bought when I very first started quilting. And it was one that I gave to my mom and it made its way back to me. So the fabric was meant to be with me. And it's a quilt that I am working on with my mom. We are making the same quilt. Probably finish mine before her, but that's okay. So,
Mom is not complaining.
Quiltessa said she's doing hers in buttercup and slate.
Mm.
So, all right, let's hop over and do a little bit of show and tell. If one of the mods would drop a link for the Facebook group in the chat, that would be great. And what I'll do is get Safari, if I can find it. Where did it go? I'll get Safari up and going. For some reason, that's not working. But we're going to quit that. We're going to open this. All right, let's go back over here. Get the screen share thing going. Or not. Weird. Let me try one more time. Oh, there it is. I don't know. Huh, interesting. So the software is not picking up Facebook. There it goes. Let's try that again. There we go. All right.
Ones I'm seeing on So Becca and Friends, like an hour old.
That's okay. That's okay. There we go. All right. So we're going to set this over here so that I can see the chat. We'll go through and see what we've got in the So Becca and Friends. I'm going to change this to newest posts. First one that we have is from Michelle. She is making a baby quilt for a coworker and she just needs to quilt it. It's got a bunch of cute little elephants on it. Carol Lewis just finished a quilt over Memorial Day weekend and had enough time to make herself a bag. Very pretty. Oh, goodness, now I'm yawning. Susan Year Out says she did a fun Peanuts baby quilt she is making for a family at church who are expecting a baby boy this summer.
Oh, babies are always fun.
Mm-hmm. Bill Imhoff is making month 4 Among the Stars again. Tonight's this is his tonight. This is what he finished tonight. I need to work on my month 5. I've got month 4 done, but now I need to do month 5. I'm a little behind. Katrina Muller, been working on cotton cuts been working on cutting fabrics for these patterns, I'm making the puzzle one for my friend's son who will be turning 3 later this month. The diamond double is for my fiance.
That is stunning.
Yes. We're going to refresh the screen again. Make sure there's nothing else that slipped in here. I don't think so.
I don't think there is either, hon.
Mm-mm. I mean, we're at the end of 2 hours, and we haven't been talking about the Facebook group. That's fine. All right, so where are you going to go from here? I think Donna's live. Let's double check really quick. Are there any questions that I can answer before we end tonight? Yeah, she is live. Okay. I am setting things up. Any questions I can answer before we finish for the evening? Go ahead and type them out in the chat. Huh.
What?
I'm just checking a couple of quick settings.
You still on the live?
Yep, we're about to end. I was trying to set things up so that the redirect would go directly over to Donna, but looks like Joe changed the permissions and I can't redirect you guys there. So can't dump you out, but what I can do, and that's what I'm trying to do right now, is get you the link so that if you want to go over and hang out with Donna tonight, you can do that. So I just got to get the live chat up so that I can actually go in and chat in the comments. All right, so this is where Donna is tonight. Spammed it in the chat. Feel free to click on the link, hop over there. I'll probably go over there for a bit, and I will talk to you guys all later. Bye.
Bye-bye.